Sam's Garage, presented by Hemsaw. The new engine has arrived for the 57 Ford Thunderbird project. Sam and Doug walk us through inspecting the new engine by performing a leak-down test. Leak-down tests will help verify that the engine's internals are in good condition and will perform well once in the car.
Doug and I are getting ready to inspect the engine that we have chosen for our Thunderbird project. And due to the times today, you can't really find a non-direct injected 5-liter 302 engine. So we have to go to a used one. So we're going to show you guys how to properly inspect your engine and make it worthy for your project. So first we're going to strip down the engine of all the engine harness and the hoses for the cooling system that we're not going to use, along with the evaporative emission solenoid. Then we're going to take out the spark plugs, borescope it, and do the leak down test. Bell housings are hard to find right now.
I understand.
We could have done a compression test on this motor, but due to the fact that we can't bolt the starter onto it because it's got a bell housing that's missing right now. Now, when you guys are unplugging your solenoids right here, these are the cam phaser actuation solenoids. Be very careful, don't damage them because they cost a lot of money. You gotta go in there and take things apart to replace them, so be very careful. You don't care about the harness, but you really care about the sensors. And if I were you, some of these pigtails, I would keep just in case your new setup, there's a problem, you damage something, you always have a pigtail to go back and change out. 2 ways of getting coolant hoses off of your engine if you guys are doing a service or a maintenance at home and you have a stubborn hose. Remove your clamp, take a pick like this, go in, go around it, separating the hose from the flange, then you can easily pull it off. If you have a small hose like this, take your pliers, go around the hose, carefully spin it.
First step, look at the plugs. Second step, we put the borescope in. First thing you're going to do is you pop them all up like we talked on. We check every plug. Make sure all of the plugs, the burns, look correct. If there's something different and one of the plug has a lot of oil on it, then we know we've got a problem. It's got a lot of carbon buildup, but each plug that I have here all looks uniform. I know I'm in pretty good shape, but if I have one plug that looks foul, that's going to be the cylinder I'm going to hone in on first before I go to any of the other ones, because that's going to be my trouble spot. Saw Sam going ahead and leaking down the engine. There's 4 main areas that you want to take a look at. You want to listen, am I leaking by my intake valve? Am I leaking by my exhaust valve? Am I leaking by my rings? Or am I leaking by my head gasket? If it's the head gasket, it's going to be where your water's flowing through. If it's your intake valve, then you're going to go ahead and listen right here and you'll be able to hear it out the intake. You'll also be able to hear it out your exhaust. And that's what you're going to be listening to on your exhaust, and it's coming out your exhaust valve. If I'm listening to the block of the motor, then it's going by the rings, and I'm going to be listening right here. It's going to be coming right through the block. So it's critical. This way you're able to tell exactly where air is leaking by. That's why the leak down is. Now remember, once your engine is under compression, everything is going to be sealing better because you have that explosion. It helps tighten up the valves. It tightens up the rings when it's firing.
Very cool, the engine completely passed our inspection. Underneath the valve cover, very clean. It passed the leak down test. So now I think it's worthy of the next step.
I really agree with you, Sam. I'm really impressed with the motor. When you first look at it, I thought, well, we'll see what we find out, but it looks great. So let's get her cleaned up and it'll look great in the car.
Yep, we're gonna get a gasket kit, reseal the engine, blow it apart, pressure wash it, paint it, and really make it look good for our Thunderbird
You know,
project.
Sam, I wouldn't blow it apart, I would take it apart, but that's just a suggestion.
I like blowing things up.
Yeah.